people had a very rude awakening. Things that were normal, people retiring and that the U.S. government was going to take care of them, didn't happen anymore. So what I see is, because of this, we have an opportunity of, it can be the worst thing that ever happened to us, or it can be the best thing that ever happened to us. But what's happening in Canada and America, and I'm sure in Japan, is that we do not have big companies taking care of us anymore. We have to take care of our futures and of ourselves. So that's where it gives us an interesting opportunity. And I've known Nuri for quite a while, so you work for an international company that has a bigger picture. So there's some opportunities as people that work with Nuri that I just want to share with you that I believe that you have. My first story is about a company very similar to this one. When I owned my company, we would make buhin, so big parts, little parts for aircraft. And we used a company much like Hubnet Express. And this company was not the cheapest or not the most expensive, but it was quite high up there. The reason why we used this company is because any time that I would need something, any time I pick up the phone, it didn't matter who answered. I knew they would take care of me and my buhin. Why this is important for Hubnet Express is that I believe in this industry, it's more than just paperwork or packing. It's a relationship with your customer so that they can know that whoever that calls will be able to help them. So for me, I've had an experience with my Hubnet Express for 20 years. So that's my first story. So I know that Hubnet Express is like the bird, the pigeon. And I know that Hubnet Express stands for excellence. And I just want to ask you, do you know in your heart that you work for the best company? Because the people in my Hubnet Express, they knew that they worked for the best company. That's why I trusted them. My second story is about a young man named Pedro. He was 18 years old when I first met him, and I hired him as an apprentice machinist. My company, we made computerized equipment. So we used computers with programming to make buhin for airplanes. He was an old-style machinist. What impressed me about Pedro was that he was always curious. Anytime we had something interesting that needed to happen, Pedro would always come and talk to me and say, "Gary, did you think about this way of manufacturing? Did you think how we could do this better?" Pedro was not the easiest employee. He didn't always say yes. He didn't always make me happy. Sometimes he made me quite angry. But out of all my employees, he was one of the employees that I knew that I could count on because of his interest in our company and in our customer. The third story that I'd like to share with you is my story. When I was 18 years old, I graduated high school, and I had no idea what I wanted to do in the world. I was very shy. I did not like to talk to people. I just liked to be quiet and not seen. But in my heart, I always wanted to see the world. always wanted more. So at 18, my father talked to me and said, I'm thinking of opening a machine shop to make buhin. And I was like, okay, sure. I gave my father $10,000 that I saved for university, and then we opened a company. I worked for 6 years making buhin by hand, but I hated every day. When I graduated university, I created a thesis. A thesis is a plan for the future for the company. I gave it to my father, and I said, this is for you, it's my gift. I'm moving to Paris. I moved to Paris for 2 years, and I followed my dream. I fell in love with a Spanish girl. I studied French. I hung out drinking wine on the Champs-Élysées. And I was planning to move to France. 2 years after I gave my thesis and I said I'm never coming back, I still own some of the company. I own 20% of my company. My mom says, I read your thesis. Will you come back for 6 months to help us make this plan? In 1989, the world leader of computerized equipment comes from Nagoya, and it's Yamazaki Meizak company. And 1989, to buy one machine was $150,000 US. My mom was scared, but in my thesis I said, this is the future of machining. She said, will you come home for 6 months? Every day for 1 month she called me until I finally said, yes, I'll come home for 6 months. 6 months became 16 years. I left Paris and I never went back. I visited many times, but I left my dream in Paris. That brings us to 2006 when I met the woman. Her name is Kanako, and she lived right over there. I met her in Canada before she lived over there, and I fell in love with her. I was tired of my company, and I had a decision to make because in 2008, my father turned 65 and he would retire. So I would have to buy the company. I would be in debt until I was 65 at least. I worked 16 hours a day in a job I hated. I had a woman that moved to Japan that I knew if I didn't take action, I would lose her. And I wanted the world. So in 2008, I made a decision to learn how to be an English teacher. I studied at University of British Columbia, and I got my diploma. And in June of 2008, I hired someone to replace me as vice president of my company, and I came to Japan, and that's when I met Noreen. Remember I told you about a young man named Pedro, the young man that I hired 13 years ago. When I went back in 2008, I knew that I did not want to continue owning my company. I went for some beers with Pedro, and I said, Pedro, I have a problem. I don't want to take over this company. We were good friends. We worked together very closely. He was my foreman in charge of production. He said, Gary, I have an idea. I would love to buy your company. But I don't know how we can do it, and I'm not sure how to talk to your father about it. And I said, okay. So we had some meetings, and somehow we worked it out that Pedro would be able to, he had some money saved because he was a good worker. He had a house that he used for rental income. He sold that so he could put a down payment on my company. From 2008 June. By 2009 February, I sold my company to my foreman, Pedro. Why this is important is that Pedro was just an employee, but an employee with a big heart. At the right moment, because of all of his care of this company, he wanted the company. At that moment when I knew I didn't want the company, we could come together and make an agreement. And I promise you, he got a very good deal because he was the right person at the right time. I'm sure I would have made at least $500,000 more to sell to someone else. But right now, if you go to Vancouver, my old company has Mahler Industries still there. All of the employees that were there from 2009 are still there. His wife works in the company, and now the company went from 50 employees to 75 employees, even when the economy went down. When I just came from Vancouver, and I went to my old company. Why this is important is that when I went to my old company, we were sitting in Pedro's office, I had a call from the owner of the courier company. They still do business together. They do 90% of Mahler Industries' business. So what's really fascinating to me is that through all of this time, the relationship between this employee who cared and this company who cared is still going on. I think what's important, why Nuri wanted to talk to me, to you who are here, is that I believe that dreams can come true. I believe that when I was working hard every day, I had this dream in my heart, and I knew that someday I would follow it, and I made a decision, and I told myself, I promised myself that when I was 65, I would not look back at my life and say, I did not follow my dream. For me, I had to leave my company. What I realized is that even in a job where you are right now, you can still follow your dreams. That there is hope that by paying attention to what you do here and what you do in your life on the train, what you do in your life going home to your family or seeing your friends makes a difference. But we think that all we have is our work, shigoto, shigoto, shigoto. But I believe that there's more outside of work, that we can do our best and we can think and use our hearts in our work, but we can also follow our dreams. And that's why I'm here talking with you. So I have 2 pieces of paper that I will share with you, and I don't know. Can you pass this out? I don't know if there's not enough. Would you take photocopies? Yeah. On this, as many people who wants them. I have 9 here. Yeah. So on this piece of paper, it says, my 3 wishes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. So Nuri told you that after I lived in Japan, I went to Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I met a very wise, not old, a very young man. And I was not sure what I wanted to do with my wife. With my life. I didn't know if I wanted to marry this woman. I did not know if I wanted to start a family. I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. And he gave me some very good advice. He said, take a piece of paper and write down 3 things that you wish for, that you really want in your life. In my case, I wanted my dream job. I wanted to know if I wanted to be married, and I wanted to have a family. So I wrote those down. I folded it up, and I put some tape on it, and I put a date. And I waited until that time. I didn't think about it until the time that it said on there. What happened for me was I put the date of 6 weeks from when I signed it, and I put it away. When I opened it, it said, my dream job is to be an international person who will meet interesting people and help them. I want to be in Japan, I want to be in Australia, and I want to be in Canada and Hawaii. Number 2, I want to marry Kanako. Number 3, I want to start a family. I have an international practice where I work in Canada, I work in Hawaii, and I work in USA, California. I will be going to Australia, and I want to start working in Japan. I married that woman. She moved to Canada. We lived together, and in January, I will be a father. Thank you. I'm going to have a son. The date that they say is January 26th. If I would look back in 2008, I had no idea I would be sitting here in Aomori Yokocho talking with you people. I had no idea that I would be married to a beautiful woman that has a beautiful heart that's carrying my baby. So what I would ask for you all is to write 3 things down that your wishes are, that you would like to see. I would like you now to write them down, to fold it up, and write the date January 1st, 2013, and put it somewhere that you will remember to look at it. And then January 1st, take a look at this and see what it is that your heart told you tonight to write down. So I'll give you 5 minutes, if you will write that down, and then I'll finish my talk. So if you'll please write down 3 things that you would want.
Three 3つの自分の願い事をここに書いて、で英語で
日本語で
自分たちのために、それで1月1日にもう一回。It means
yeah.
January 1st.
January 1st, you open it.
Myself.
Yeah.
And then check.
Check.
これ書いて1月1日にまた開けて見て、まあその時に忘れないように。
Thank you.
これプライベートのことか。
Private.
まあ別に何でも
anything. Like really, it's for your heart. Anything that you really want. Yeah. So if you haven't had time to fill it out, it's not something that you can do like this. But what I would ask you is, before you go to bed or you go on the train, instead of looking at your keitai, instead of listening to music, instead of zoning out, ask yourself, really, what is it that I want that would make me feel something alive? Then tomorrow morning, if you haven't filled it out, fill it out and then put it away. But this is important because this is your lives. This is something that we forget. Not just people in this room, everybody in this world forgets that there's something bigger that we are here for, that there is something that we could feel for. And I guarantee you, I would not have a son coming into the world if I didn't believe with all my heart that we can reach for something bigger that gives us meaning. That we can be a part of a team and create something good in this world. And I know from what Nuri tells me that you are creating something good in this world. You are doing things that matter for people. And how I know is because when I had my company, I was counting on a company like yours all the time. So as I close my talk, I have one more piece of paper, and I talked to Nuri. And on this piece of paper, all it is, it says today's date and 50% offer and a place for your name. Nuri has agreed that if you write your name and you give it to him, he will pay for you to work with me on Skype to help you in this company and to help you in your life. So this is really something that your boss believes in you to not only become a better employee, but so that you can have a better life. So this is something where he is putting his money where he's talking. This is serious. If you would want to work with me, I am here in Tokyo until the 11th. There is an email address. You tell me, and I will come anywhere in Tokyo, and I will meet with you personally. And we can get to know each other, and then you can find out what it would be like to work with me. Nuri is going away to Hong Kong tomorrow. When he gets back, all you have to do is give him that paper with your name on it, and we will talk, and then we will make sure that you would be able to help create your dreams. So it's not something that you have to be afraid of. All you have to do is you put it on his desk, and he knows what to do with it. But if you want more from your life, if you want more from your work here, if you want to be the type of employee like Pedro that won't be afraid to step to the next level and to get more passion in your work and more passion in your life, this is your opportunity. So Nuri was gracious enough. I spent last week with him telling him what I do. He was impressed enough that he said, please come and talk to my employees and tell them. So I will pass out the offer, and then it's up to you what you would like to do with it. So would you be able to say in Japanese just in case? But I don't speak Japanese, so it would have to be in English, but then they understand.
とりあえず今これ紙皆さんに配ると思うんですけど、名前と this email address is scary. So is it the name and the email address?
Oh, just the name.
Just the name.
Yeah, because all this is for Nuri. You just hand it to Nuri, and he knows what to do. But what they have to do is, my email address is here. What I would like, if they're interested, Nuri isn't here, but I will come, not here, if you want me to meet here, or if you want to meet at Watami, if you want to meet for a beer and talk, and see if it's right for you. I'm here until the 11th of November. Then I'm going to Osaka. But I just feel that it would be best for us to talk.
名前を書いて。多分英語の方がいいかな。まあローマ字で英語はない。
So that's my talk. Thank you all for listening and listening to my stories. And I wish you all the best as you're working in this company. I know Nuri thinks very highly of everyone in this company, and I know Nuri loves this company. And I was a boss, so I also know what it's like to be a boss, and I know what it's like for my employees, how employees feel about the boss. I know that. But one thing that I know that this offer is serious, and if you would want to, I would be very happy to work with you from Canada. And I come to Japan once every year. Next time I come to Japan will be a year from now, and I will stay in Tokyo for 3 months. And if we work, I will come and I will meet with you and I will help you to make your dreams happen. And that's my talk. So, thank you all, and yeah.
今まあ分かった人と分かってない人いると思うんですけど、
Right now I'm staying in Akasaka. My wife got a weekly mansion. Yeah, so it's quite convenient to go anywhere. But definitely, like, if you want to meet with me, I'll come to you.
もし何かあれば、日本にいる間はいつでも助けに来ますよっていう。
Yeah. And if a group of you want to come together and drink beer, I come. If you want to go to Watami, let's go. I'll come. I used to live here, so I know all the time when I picked up my wife, she worked at the Park Hotel doing massage. I'd pick her up at midnight, and then we go to Watami and have beer and gyoza and some sashimi. Okay? Do you have any questions?
So I have a
Yes.
question. So,
Yeah.
So how the Pedro story?
Yes.
So very
Yes.
impression
Yes.
for me.
Yeah.
So you sold the company to Pedro, right?
That's right.
So is it shareholder or so
Pedro-
he is a president, right?
He is the president. So what happened was, he was a smart young man. Like, when he started, he would save money and he bought a house in Vancouver. So he had a renter, and the renter was paying that. Since Pedro worked a lot, he worked overtime, he got money. When he decided to buy this company, he owned, I don't know how much of the house, but enough to put a down payment on our company. So now, for me, I own 20%. So I got some money up front, and then until 2018, I have payment from Pedro. So until 2018, I get money from the company, and same thing with my mom and dad. They owned 80%, 40, 40, 20.
80.
Yeah, so my mom owned 40, my dad owned 40,
40.
I own 20.
20.
Yeah. So right now, I get payment until 2018.
2018. To Pedro 18, right?
Yeah. 2018, Pedro pays me money. So I got some money up front, but we made a special agreement that he would be able to buy the company.
Why did he want to buy this company? Are they asking you?
I know why he wanted it, because to create a company like this, it takes many years, and our company, Mahler Industries, had a very good reputation. So maybe out of all of British Columbia, the top 3. So I heard that you guys are doing ISO certification. We're ISO certified. We have all of the biggest companies in British Columbia, Boeing, Bombardier. We have those clients. If you want to start, it's really hard. So for him, it just made sense, but he knew he loved the company. So that's why he wanted to buy it. And his wife also was vice president in the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia. That is the insurance company. So if you have a car in British Columbia, you have to go through the government to get your insurance. She's a vice president there. So she has a very strong business mind. And then Pedro has a very strong manufacturing mind. So together, they've done really well. Like I said, they've increased the amount of employees. I think they managed the company better than I did. I really made it like family. They're a little bit more business, but it's what the company needed. At first, it was a hard adjustment for the employees, but now I talk to the employees and they're happy. It's very clear. And what I like about Pedro is he's very forward-thinking, and any opportunity that the employees want for learning or for growth, the company pays for it. I started it, but he's making that much bigger. So he believes in helping people to grow in the company. So it's very interesting because every year I see the business he's doing, even though from 2008 the economy went down, he's increasing his sales. Maybe you're wondering, do I feel bad that I sold the company because it's going better? Not at all. I'm happy for his success because I get to live the life that I've been dreaming of. So, and it took a lot for me because I'll share with you, when I was going to leave this company, I was scared. I made good money, and I was set till I died. I really just had to show up to work, and things would run, but I was so unhappy. So I had to really have some courage to leave that. And I know Nuri says I'm a rich man. I owned only 20%. And right now, I live off what I get because I'm just starting a new business. So I don't worry about it. I have some safety, but I want to build a new business that's from my heart, from scratch. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks.
But it was really, the thing is that Pedro loved the company. That's the answer, the short answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Question? No question.
No questions. I'll leave you guys get back to work. Thank you for taking time. I know that you still have work to do, so just spending time with me, I really appreciate it. And I would love to talk to you more, and if a group of you want to go for beers, you tell me. I'm here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you very much. Thanks for your help.